Fresh off celebrating the opening of the ninth and Van Brunt Athletic Fields this past weekend, we welcome our 55th elected mayor of KC Mo, Mayor Quinton Lucas on Hustle and Shine. Good morning, Mayor Q. What's good?
Good morning. It is a beautiful day in Kansas City, a little humid. I got my morning run in. I hope y'all having a good day so far.
Now, I would say at least half of the people who I grew up with or went to school with here in KC were all born at Research Medical Center, including my younger brother. With research scaling back critical services like maternity and NICU care, how do we make sure mamas and babies in Southeast KC and other undeserved neighborhoods aren't left behind? Is there a plan in place to close the gap before it widens even more, Mayor Lucas?
Two very important points. First, for mamas and babies, and then the second on research and where it is in the community more broadly. On the first, we have seen expanded clinics at University Health, that's Truman Medical Center, that we hope can handle a lot of the numbers that we have. Truman, not just, of course, on its downtown Hospital Hill campus, they've also got a campus out in Southeast Kansas City, technically that's Southeast KC, although most people would call it Lee Summit. We hope they can fill a lot of that gap. But let me be clear with you. Having a hospital at Prospect and Meyer, 63rd and Prospect, the neighborhood that it's in, is something that is vital for us. Having that type of care in the core of our city makes our friends, our mothers, our wives, our cousins safer. This is a loss. This is a real loss. So we hope to talk to research's parent company, HCA Midwest, about first how we can make sure they can continue to provide important and life-saving services at research. We have seen hospitals close down in this community before, and it's left gaps for a long time. Trinity Lutheran Hospital used to be at 31st and Main. Baptist Hospital was on Rock Hill. Now it's just an ER called Research Brookside. We continue to see these challenges. We need to make sure that we continue to have that first level trauma care in Southeast Kansas City, in the core of the city. And I absolutely think the childbirth, delivery, the NICU are important parts of it. So we'll keep talking to them about that. This was tough news last week. I hope there's a way that we can challenge it or at least make sure that those gaps don't grow.
Now, Governor Kehoe had signed several bills recently, and many of them affect Kansas City. How does the mayor's office expect to just help with these cuts so the cousins aren't feeling it as much, especially after budget cut vetoes $1 million from Kansas City Public Library expansion?
And let me be good this morning. I didn't go to church yesterday, y'all, but I'm gonna try to be a man of faith and just say
Uh-oh.
very simply this. Now, these are in many ways devastating cuts. Signing the bill that repeals some of our minimum wage and paid sick leave increases. I mean, that's unconscionable. The people of Missouri voted to ensure that folks could have sick leave, so you're not trying to choose between making sure you can survive and keeping your job. And as somebody who grew up the son of somebody who had to make that choice each and every day, I want our mothers, I want our fathers being able to actually take care of themselves, take care of their children, and not feeling the need to actually just go to work, lose a job, all those sorts of things when you don't need to make that balance. When the state of Missouri has laid that out for us. This is not some sort of social welfare giveaway. It's making sure we all could be healthy. That is very disappointing. Cuts to the public library. The public library, by the way, that just a few days ago announced the purchase of all the archives of the Kansas City Call paper. So everybody in Kansas City can know the last century and change of Black history. They do important work for our kids and for our families. So these cuts are something that I don't think are productive, are fruitful. The governor also appointed to our state-run board of police commissioners, former conservative Councilwoman Heather Hall from Kansas City's Northland. I mean, he's not obviously thinking about, in a lot of these steps, the inner city of Kansas City, how things can be better for us and how our children and families can be doing better. So I'm disappointed, but we'll keep working with them to try to do the best we can for Kansas Cityans.
Mayor Lucas, KC has thousands of vacant lots, many sitting untouched for years, dragging down neighborhoods and opening the door to crime and dumping. You and Councilwoman Patterson Hazley introduced a vacant lot activation initiative to finally do something about it. But what does activating these properties really mean, and how soon before we start seeing real change, not just legislation, but transformation on the ground in our neighborhoods?
We need money, right? That's probably step one. We need resources and we need investors. The challenge is we want investors who are from our own community. We want people from our neighborhoods that are able to turn these lots around. So a big part of what we're trying to do is to say, how can you reduce the costs of rebuilding on your own lot? We want the grandson, we want the cousin buying that vacant lot, not an out-of-state investor who's buying 100 of them. If their house is on it, they let them get raggedy, but they try to charge these usurious rental rates. Or, frankly, they're letting everything just go and abandon and disrepair. So what we are trying to do is say, how can we defray the cost of rebuilding and renovation? How can we make sure that there are low cost and low interest loans that go to people from our community, particularly Kansas Cityans who grew up in a lot of these neighborhoods, who are predominantly Black Kansas Cityans? And how can we make sure that we actually are rebuilding our community by having people in there? You know, I'm proud of a lot of stuff that's happening in Kansas City, but we are still losing too many people right near Research Hospital, frankly, where we continue to lose lots of population each census, and we're losing that population south of the river. This helps us arrest our population decline in those neighborhoods and allows us to rebuild those neighborhoods that are good, walkable ones, just like the one I'm in right now. And I hope that we can get something done with it all.
And over the weekend, Mayor Lucas, Kansas City came together to celebrate and recognize Miss Willa upon her retirement. Can you briefly speak on what her work meant for the city?
Her celebration was powerful. I'm a nerd. I'm going to admit being a nerd. And the reason is because my single mother who graduated from Southeast High School always had books in our house. And they were primarily books by Black authors, Black women authors, Black men, that told me that myself, my community, we all were something special. Miss Willa made that possible for thousands of Kansas City families. I bought just a little bit of stuff, but we had old vinyls, Ebony magazines, Life magazines, books, stories, so much. As somebody who loves reading, frankly, as somebody who thinks we need to do more reading, Miss Willa made an amazing change for all of us in Kansas City. So we will miss her. It was a wonderful celebration for an 84-year-old woman and her family. The KC Defender and I, we have some disagreements. We have back and forth. I appreciate what they're doing here. They're going to take over her space. They're going to make sure it continues to be a Black community, cultural, and literary center that is vital for us. But shout out to Miss Willa Mae Robinson and everybody who keeps bringing knowledge to our Black community.
Thank you so much for your time, Mayor Lucas. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good one. Be a blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.